Good morning. I just wanted to discuss a few things with you. It's raining outside and my wife is away, and I thought it'd be a great time to talk about something that I get asked quite a bit. And it's usually by novice or beginning shooters or people who just have no experience in shooting. What they ask me is, what kind of a gun should I buy? Or another variation, which generally is believed to have the same meaning, is what kind of gun should I get to carry? Many people, when they go and start to become interested in firearms, will ask people they know that have guns, and invariably, a lot of the advice they get is get a revolver. And the reason people say to get a revolver is because it's foolproof. Well, I'm living proof that nothing is foolproof. Some people simply exist to serve as a warning to other people, okay? That being said, and no, I haven't had any gun accidents. That being said, most people are steered toward a revolver by the people who mean well. I have a different opinion about the revolver, and I'll explain why. The revolver is a good gun. It has its place and it has its uses. The reason I don't steer people towards a revolver is actually multifold. And I say multifold because it's got a lot. Most of the people who ask me about this are women. Many of them are elderly. Okay? And the reason why I don't get a lot of these questions from men is because most men, face it fellas, we think we know everything and don't need any help. But most of the time I'm asked this by women. So, and many times, because of where I live is a retirement area, it's elderly women who ask me those questions. I'm guilty of this back when I didn't think about it, but having taught a number of these women how to shoot, I've realized the error of my ways. And the fact that the revolver is a horrible way to begin your shooting experience. And I say that because of a number of factors. Again, we'll say multifold. I like that word. Let's say it again together. Multifold. I made it up. I don't know if it's a real word. So one of the issues being is most of the time the revolver people buy is a snubby, which, again, has its purpose and its use. Again, this is empty. Has its purpose and use, but it has a short barrel. Now, the shorter the barrel in firearms, the more inaccurate the gun. That's inherent inaccuracy is made by a long barrel. Or, excuse me, I may have said that wrong. Inherent accuracy is improved the longer the barrel. How about that one? So the longer the barrel, the more accurate the weapon should be if it's performing properly. Now that I've gotten my words all mixed up, we'll continue. So you get these new shooters who oftentimes are a little timid when it comes to shooting for the first time, and you've got an inaccurate weapon. Well, an inaccurate weapon in a timid shooter, and you've got shaking, and you're going to have, more often than not, a miss. And it's going to be discouraging to the shooter. So that's one issue. Second issue is, again, a lot of the people that ask me for advice about guns are women. And the trigger on most revolvers, again, this is empty, no bullets. The triggers on revolvers are very, very difficult to pull. They're a lot heavier than the trigger on a semi-automatic pistol or a single-action pistol or whatever. The triggers on a revolver are heavy, and a lot of women have difficulty manipulating the trigger, especially elderly who may have lost some of the strength in their hands or finger dexterity. They just, pulling that trigger back is difficult, and the fact that you have to hold the gun steady and pull that back makes it very difficult. Now, another factor you have is the fact that it is a revolver. The gun works entirely by mechanics and springs and levers. So all of the energy of the bullet, of the cartridge, is used to send the bullet downrange. Well, now we're talking about energy and transfer of energy. And I'm not going to get deep into it. But basically, you've got all this energy pushing the bullet this way, but it's also pushing back against the cartridge, and you're going to have more kick. Inherently, it's going to have more kick when you fire that bullet, and harder to keep on target. And because it's a 38, it's going to be a loud boom. You can't even get a silencer or some sort of a device to put on there to make the rounds more quiet. So again, let's recap. Inherently inaccurate, heavy trigger, loud boom, heavy kick, and the fact that if they're using this in a moment of desperation, they've already got enough adrenaline going through their body that they're shaking like this. Oh my gosh, I would not want someone holding a gun looking like this. So, I don't recommend the revolver as a new weapon to somebody. It's inherently the wrong decision. Some people can do it, but most people that I recommend weapons to, I would not recommend a revolver to. Some other aspects of the revolver is that it is a little thicker than your semi-automatic, so it's a little more difficult to conceal if you're concealing it on your body. And the ammunition is probably mid-range. You can find some cheaper ammo, but it can also get pretty expensive. So it's a mid-range ammunition. It's readily available, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so here's what I do recommend. If you have a new shooter, somebody that has no experience, I'm going to recommend this. Not necessarily this particular pistol, but it is a .22 long rifle, semi-automatic pistol. And there's many reasons why I like this gun. The reasons, and I've actually sold probably a number of these just by talking about these and teaching people how to shoot. The reason I like this gun in particular, and it's a Ruger SR22, is it's probably on the lower end of the price scale for a semi-automatic .22 in today's market. It holds 10 rounds, which is more than the revolver, obviously. The bullets, the .22 long rifle, are a smaller bullet. They're also rimfire, and this video is not going to get into the difference between centerfire and rimfire, but they're an inexpensive round. They're cheap. You can buy tons of them as compared to a box of 38. So if you're inclined to practice, which I strongly recommend, anybody who takes up firearms, get good training and practice. So you can buy a lot more ammo for the same price as what you can buy a few rounds of the 38. It's semi-automatic, so the energy is dissipated by sending the bullet downrange, and the slide is cycled in part by the gases. So any kick, well, .22 long rifle doesn't kick hardly at all anyway, but any kick is absorbed in the cycling of the slide to load the next round into the chamber. The .22 doesn't have a loud bang. It's not intimidating. It doesn't have a hard kick. It's not intimidating to a new shooter. The gun is stylish and looks nice. It's slender. It's easily concealed. And you're going, whoa, 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 whoa. You're telling people to carry a .22 on them? Yeah, I am. If somebody wants to carry a weapon for protection and they're comfortable with a .22 long rifle, it's better to have a .22 long rifle pistol than to have no pistol, or even worse, a pistol that they have that they're inaccurate with or uncomfortable with and unlikely to use. So, yeah, .22 long rifle, you put bullets on target, it's going to do the same thing as any other gun. It's just a smaller bullet. In fact, there are some very good bullets out there that are even smaller than the .22. I believe the FN57 has a smaller round. I could be wrong on that, but it's pretty close. It just puts a lot more powder behind it, but it is a smaller round. And people are perfectly comfortable with carrying that weapon on them. But essentially, the .22 long rifle, you've got the longer barrel, so it's more accurate. And you have people who are willing to practice with it because it's not an intimidating gun. It has safety, unlike the revolver. Again, all things can malfunction, so you have to obey all the safety rules, but this weapon you can do a lot of things with. I mean, it's got adjustable sights, it's got you can mount lasers on it, you can mount lights on it, you can get holsters for it. It's just a very pleasurable weapon to shoot. And I would recommend this time and time again to any new shooter. And once they become comfortable with this, it's just like a drug. They're going to move on to bigger and better. But they're always going to love their first experience with the .22 long rifle pistol. So, any questions, hit me up. Thanks for watching.